Good morning, Upper School, and welcome to week 6 of our English sessions. This week's focus is looking at the active and passive voice. So let's just take a look at the definition. There are two ways of presenting the same information in a sentence using verbs. These are the active voice and the passive voice. In the active voice, the subject of the sentence does the action. In the passive voice, the subject of the sentence has the action done to it. Let's take a look at an example. Here's our first sentence. Nina fed the rabbit. Now, do we think this is active or passive? Pause it if you want to have a think. Let's take a look at the second sentence so that we can compare the two. The rabbit was fed by Nina. Can you notice the difference between them? Let's just remind ourselves. In the active voice, the subject of the sentence does the action. In the passive voice, the subject of the sentence has the action done to it. So, when we see that in our first sentence, we have Nina fed the rabbit, we can see that this is our active voice. So Nina fed the rabbit. Our passive voice is we switch those around. So the rabbit was fed by Nina. Let's take a look at what this looks like using our picture. Our picture this week is the girl standing by the pontoon. Let's have a look. As she walked along the jetty, it was rocked gently by the water flowing downstream. Thinking carefully, she leant down into the water. With swift strokes of her red crayon, she drew herself a small red boat. The moment she pushed off from the bank, the vessel was caught and pushed along by the current. Her heart beat faster as she wondered what she would find at the end of the meandering stream. Why not have a pause and have a think about what sentences could be in the active and what sentences could be in the passive? Did you find any? Let's take a look together. As she walked along the small jetty, it was rocked gently by the water flowing downstream. Let's take a look at that sentence. As she walked along the small jetty, it was rocked gently by the water flowing downstream. Can you see where the passive might be? That's correct. In this half of the sentence, we can see there's passive. It was rocked gently by the water flowing downstream. It, referring to the small jetty, was being rocked by the water flowing downstream. And that sometimes can be a little trick or hint to find out where the passive voice is, that word, by. It tells us that the subject of the sentence has the action done to it. Let's take a look at the next sentence. Thinking carefully, she leant down into the water. Again, lovely piece of active voice. With swift strokes of her red crayon, she drew herself a small red boat. The moment she pushed off from the bank, the vessel was caught and pushed along by the current. Did you hear where that passive voice was? The moment she pushed off from the bank, the vessel was caught and pushed along by the current. Can you see that the subject of the sentence has the action done to it? So the vessel has been caught and pushed along by the current. And again, it's that lovely word of by that gives us that hint. Can you see any others? Her heart beat faster as she wondered what she would find at the end of the meandering stream. Here's a challenge. I'm not going to annotate this anymore, but why don't you see if you can find any of the other passive voice, if there is any, or if I've missed one or two out. I look forward to seeing that. Our other challenge this week is for you to try writing in the passive voice. Why not use the picture that we give you and write in that passive voice and post it on Purple Mash? Your teachers are eagerly awaiting to see your writing, and I can't wait to share with you the grammar focus for next week.